Hi guys. So this is a program that helps you input an integer, a character and a floating point number and display it. So we've already done printing onto your console screen. Now we're going to take a look at some basic data types for us and how do you print those values, how do you input those values, take a value from the user and print it back onto your monitor. So the basic data types we are dealing with right now is int, which is short for integer, and these are all the numbers that you take. No decimal numbers, just non-decimal numbers. It can be anything: 25, 34, 127, 1, 0. It can be minus 24. I'm sorry, it can be a negative number as well, but just numbers. This is an integer, and the access specifier you need to specify when you print it onto your console or when you accept the input from a user is %d, where d stands for digit. So whenever earlier we had seen you print something exactly as it is in between the double quotes. Now when you want to print something that is a variable, you use %d. Moving on to character. So a character is the next data type that is specified by char. This can be anything, like almost everything on your keyboard has got an ASCII value. An ASCII value is a value associated with a character which helps to identify it. Okay, so it can be capital A, it can be small a, it can be a hash symbol, it can be a tilde symbol, it can be just space, anything of the sort. And character is always surrounded by two single quotes in order to show that it is a character. And the access specifier for this is %c, where c stands for char. Next is a floating point number. This is depicted as float, and these are all your decimal values. So it can be 2.5, 3.0, 0.75. You have minus 13.65 and so on. And the access specifier you use is a %f. Now a variable is any storage space in your memory which can take a value. So a variable has to have a name because you are going to assign it with different values. So it has to have a name, sort of like you have a house at a particular address. It should have a name so that you can identify it. And therefore we are now going to use all these: the access specifier, a name of a variable, and accept input and go ahead with displaying. So before that, when you want to print a variable, let's say I want to print a variable named a with the value 10. So let's say you have to first go ahead and declare it. So I'm going to go ahead and declare a variable. When you declare a variable, always specify the data type initially. So 10 is an integer, so the variable data type is int. Go ahead and write the name, so a, and give it a value is equal to 10. This is only if you are giving it a value in the code. If it has to accept a value from the user, it's another set of statements. So int a is equal to 10, and when I want to print the value, let's say I want to print in my console. Always visualize how do you want to see it in the console and write inside the printf statement. So in my console, I want it to be seen as a is equal to 10, and that's it. So a is equal to is part of the printf statement. Now 10 is the value. So the value is of data type integer, and the access specifier associated with integer is %d. So I go ahead and write the access specifier at the point where I want a value, and then close the double quotes because the whatever you wanted to print is over. Now since you've already put a access specifier there, you have to tell the compiler what variable's value should be printed over there. So you put a comma after that and you write the name A. Now many of you might think if these both have to be the same. No, it does not have to be the same. You can actually go ahead and write A is equal to 10. It will just print the output as A is equal to 10. Right? You can go ahead and write value is equal to %d. It will just print value is equal to 10. So access specifier is basically used wherever you want to print a value. Now taking an input from the keyboard is scanf, and let's assume the value of A is not given and I want to take the input from the user. So scanf, you can go ahead and write %d. There is no need to write A is equal to in this, because obviously when you type the input on your console, you won't be typing A is equal to 10 as the input. If you can ask the user enter A, the user will just go about entering the value. So we just need something to input a value, which is obviously the access specifier. And then you put a comma, and here the value goes to the variable A, but in scanf you have to leave an ampersand. Scanf deals with the address of a variable, and address is specified by this symbol ampersand. Close it, put a semicolon. So you will notice now that there is a lot of similarities between these two printf and scanf statement. Yes, the function name is different, but do you see the syntax of the open bracket and the close bracket? Let's leave the variable name, and the remaining is somewhat similar, but this has got a ampersand. So if you say the difference between printf and scanf is obviously the name of the function is different, you can include a lot of things to print in your printf, to put in your printf statement within the double quotes. Like you can format it, exactly like how do you visualize your output to be. And whereas in scanf, it's just pretty much dealing with values, so the double quotes will just contain access specifiers, and max to max there might be a space inside it. Other than that, nothing much. Space or a comma, that depends upon how the user enters the input inside the console. And the variable, as far as the variable name is concerned, yes, the ampersand sign occurs inside the scanf function, but it does not occur inside your printf function. So let's go ahead and write our program. So I'll leave this here for now. Okay, we'll go ahead and write our program. So program says that it has to take an input for an integer, a character, and a floating point number and display it. So let's say I first need three variables. I need an integer num. Let's say I want a character alpha, and I want a float dec. So this is going to help me take in values as an integer, a character, and a floating point and display it. So this is actually surrounded by the hash include stdio.h and the void main. I won't be writing that. I'll be showing that in the coding part. So yes, let's assign values to it first. Let's do the assignment of values, and then we'll go ahead and take an input for the values. So you can write int num is equal to 10. Character alpha is equal to z, and float decimal is equal to 25.3. So when you want to display it, you can obviously go ahead and display it. So when you want to display it, we have a certain way of displaying in a little, let's say in entering sort of beautification in the output. So I tend to start with a /n meaning the input should begin in a new line, and then you can continue with what you want to write. So you can go ahead and write num is equal to, yes, it's a value of an integer data type, so I go ahead and write %d and comma num. I can do this and I can write separately printf for all three. We'll combine it in the end. /n, and you can write alpha is equal to %c because it's a character, and go ahead and write alpha. And printf dec is equal to %f, and you can go ahead and write dec. Please note that you do not have to write these exactly as similar as the variable name. No, it's nothing like that. Whatever is printed in between these double quotes will be done exactly like how it is, except for the access specifiers where a value will come. The main part inside this is going to be printed exactly how it is. There is no difference. So it's all about what you want to put in there. So if you go ahead and do this, yes, it will print the values as needed. It will print num is equal to 10, in a new line alpha is equal to z, and in a new line dec is equal to 25.3. Now there is something known as cascading, where instead of writing the printf statement over and over again, you can actually put it together and write. So let's see how do you put it together and write. You can actually go ahead and write it as printf. Let's say I want to print it as ABC. So I can write /n. So first I want to print the number. So I can go write a is equal to, put %d. Then /n, meaning that after printing the value, it should start in a new line. B is equal to %c, the next character. /n, c is equal to %f. And then close your double inverted commas, meaning this is how it's going to be printed. And put a comma because now we have three access specifiers. We have to give them, the compiler, three values to be printed. So go in the order of the access specifier. The first access specifier is %d, which is the integer. The variable name is num. I'm just going to write in the new line over here because I don't have much space over here. So it is num, and then put a comma, and the next one is %c, which is alpha. So go ahead and write the variable name alpha, comma. The next one is %f, with the variable name is dec. So that is your entire printf statement. What happens in the output? It prints a equals 10, in the new line b equals z, in the new line c equals 25.31, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And this is how it is being printed. So this is a basic print of the values that you've already assigned to your variable. Now you can go ahead and modify the program to take an input from the user and then print it. So I'm going to use the same variables. Let's say int num char alpha and float dec. Float dec. Now I'm going to go ahead and take the values as input from the user. You can also go ahead and write like this format: scanf %d, comma num. Scanf %f, sorry, I forgot to put the ampersand. Yes, ampersand alpha, and scanf percentage, sorry, this should have been C. Yes, percentage F and ampersand DEC. You can do this, or you can combine everything together and write in one statement of the format. Now, when you go ahead and write the scanf statement right away after declaring the variables, on the input console, once you run the program, the input console, the cursor will be waiting for a value to be entered. But many times newbie programmers do not know that the console is waiting for an input. They tend to figure that, probably the program is not working. So in order to build a more interactive console, always enter statements like, enter the value. This is more helpful when you initially start program, or somebody else takes your program. It is easy for them to understand what exactly the program is expecting a user to enter as values. So I write usually /n and enter a number and alpha and DEC. That's enough. Just put it out there in the console that you are expecting 3 values, num, alpha and decimal. Then you can go ahead, and now we're going to show you how to cascade it. So cascade in the way you want to enter the input. Probably you want to enter the number first, so put in %d first. Then you want to enter the character, so put in %c, and then you want to enter a float, which is %f. But once you enter the access specifier, go in the same order. %d relates to the variable num, so it's ampersand num. %c relates to alpha, so it's ampersand alpha. %f relates to the variable DEC, so go ahead and ampersand DEC or dec. There you have the values. So now you might ask if there is space over here or not. It's not mandatory to put a space. Some people tend to space their differentiate between their outputs, like some people tend to enter values like 15 space Z space 25.3. They leave spaces in between their inputs, whereas some people type 15, put an enter, press the enter button, put Z and press the enter button 25.3. It varies from user to user. So you write this without a space, it accepts both ways, it works. They just need something that is going to separate their inputs. Both space is accepted as a separation symbol, a separation method, or the enter button is also used as a separation method. But if you do leave space in the scanf statement in between the access specifiers, please do leave space when you give the input as well. So we have got the values inside your through your scanf statement inside your variables. We're gonna go ahead and print it. So print f, and you can print it in any format. A is equal to %d. You can go ahead and leave a space, or you can leave a comma, or you can leave a /n. Anything works. You can write a comma. B is equal to %c, comma, C is equal to %f. And you can go ahead and write num, alpha and dec. So if this is the method of writing, you can find the output of the format. A is equal to, let's say they have entered 10 M and let's say 10.3. So the output is going to be A is equal to 10, comma, B is equal to M, comma, C is equal to 10.3 followed by 5 zeros is going to be your output. Okay. Now this %f will default print 6 digits after the decimal point. If you want to shorten it, you can shorten it by writing percentage and followed by a decimal point and a number in between an F. So the number will, the number can be any number specifying how many digits you want after the decimal point. If you put it as percentage point 3F, it will print 3 digits after the decimal point. If it was percentage point 2F, it will print 2 digits after the decimal point. Do not put it as percentage 3F, then it will only print 3 digits. We want 3 digits after the decimal point or 2 digits after the decimal point. So do not forget the decimal point. So we start off by declaring 3 different variables of different data types. So int num, char alpha and float dec. Go ahead and you can print it out in 3 different statements. Gradually you can cascade everything together, no problem. So enter number. This is exactly like how we did in the previous program, just print of a statement, enter number. Go ahead and use the scanf statement, percentage %d ampersand num. Then printf, enter alphabet or character. Let's enter any character, should be fine. And scanf percentage %c ampersand alpha and printf percentage printf, you want to go ahead and write enter a fraction and scanf percentage %f ampersand dec. Now you face an error here. I'll tell you what the error is as we program. When we get the code output, we'll see and I'll show you how to change it. So once I get everything, I'm going to printf by writing as let's say you want to print out number is equal to percentage %d. Go ahead and print out the num and printf /n character and put percentage %c and print alpha and printf /n fraction percentage %f and dec. So let's run the program. I have an error. Oh yes, the error is this. Okay. So run the program, enter a number 10. Go ahead and put enter symbol and you'll find that the character is not taking a value. That is because even pressing an enter button is going to be a character. So you have to be sure of that. Either you can, there are 2 ways you can do it. You can either shift your enter character statement, that is the current line number 11 and line number 12 to the beginning before the line number 9 and 10, or you can just go ahead and enter a space over here. Once you enter a space, the enter symbol will be taken and before it as a terminating character and you can enter your new alphabet. So run, I've put the space so it shouldn't show up. So enter character has come. Let's say I enter M and enter fraction. I'm going to enter 12.5 and it prints number 10 character M fraction 12.5. Like I told you, you can go ahead and shorten it to 0.2. And another thing you can do is you can cascade all of them together. It's okay even if you can't cascade it. We'll gradually learn how to cascade it in the future programs. You can write it in 3 different statements. It doesn't matter. Enter a character. Let's say I'm going to enter another symbol this time. Let's say I'm going to enter a dollar symbol and enter fraction. I'm going to enter 12.5 and yes, it has shortened the fraction down to 2 digits after the decimal point. It all depends on the comfort of the programmer. Efficient coding is, yes, putting everything together, but let's start small. And if you're having trouble with this, write cascading everything together, just write in the separate statements and you can gradually cascade it together once you get a hang of the coding part. Thank you.